to all those who would be detrimental to the stamina of the race, such as the feeble-minded, idiots, morons, insane, criminal, and others. She advocated abortions to stop from creating socially undesirable people. Oh, who are they? You see how the forces are beginning to move? The government segregating, commerce segregating, science breed the perfect race. The beginning of the 20th century, you had religion preaching social justice and the social gospel. It's trouble. It's trouble. You have all of these things colluding now. So now what happens? Well, you need an event. Remember what I told you yesterday. You had an event. You had a religious movement, people starting to come back because of Wedgwood, China, 1740. 1740 in Wedgwood, China. George Whitefield comes back and he says, whoa, America, you're starting to worship the golden calf. You got to get back on the right track. So it was that eventually led to this. You know what this is? Wonder if anybody even here on the floor knows what this is. Do you know what this is? Good for you, Aaron. How'd you know? Did you ask earlier? Tea. This is what they threw into the Boston Harbor. This is tea. This is what it looked like. Catalyst. The Tea Party was not the catalyst. It was the awakening from Whitefield. Whitefield and Wedgwood, China. Tea. So there always has to be something that starts it. What is the catalyst this time? It's not tea, it's not Wedgwood, China. What is the catalyst this time? I don't know, but I'm going to throw out an idea that maybe it was an opera singer. Her name was Marian Anderson. She may have provided that moment. In 1939, the Daughters of the American Revolution, of which Eleanor Roosevelt was a member of, would not allow Anderson, an African American, to sing to an integrated audience in Constitution Hall. Now, ironically, the wife of the president, who would later round people up based on the way they looked and put them into internment camps, his wife, Eleanor Roosevelt, who I'm not a real big fan of, but she got this one right. She got it. She wrote this letter. This is Eleanor Roosevelt's letter of resignation from the DAR. She said in it, quote, "You had an opportunity to lead in an enlightened way. It seems to me that your organization has failed." Was this the movement that started it all? Well, I'm going to show you an image here in a minute about a concert. Didn't happen at the DAR. Marian Anderson, they arranged a concert for her on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial. There she is. Do you recognize the scene? This is 1939. Concert was performed on Easter Sunday. The massive crowd that was there, look at that. This was the largest crowd that had ever been there before. Look at that. During her amazing rendition of My Country 'Tis of Thee, she actually changed the words. I want you to listen to the very end of the way she's singing this song. Of thee we sing. We. It was the beginning of people coming together. That's when you know commerce, religion, government, and science, that's when they know they're in trouble. When the people start to come together and say, there's a problem here. Now, I don't know if anybody agrees with me. I don't know if anybody realized it at the time, but I believe that may have been the beginning of the end of the nightmare of segregation, whites-only water fountains and everything else. What's ironic is it wouldn't be realized until 1964, which we're going to get into a little bit later in the program. But it was 2 years before that, in 1962, that someone stood exactly in the same place she stood. Martin Luther King. Back in a minute. You know, I first told that story on my radio show, gosh, I bet 5, 6 years ago. Most people don't know about Marian Anderson. It's an amazing story. And it's amazing to see her because it is in 1962 that Martin Luther King comes and stands in the same place. I'm getting a lot of heat because on Saturday, a week from Saturday, August 28th, which is the anniversary of the Martin Luther King I Have a Dream speech, I am not standing in that same place, but I am standing several stairs down from where those two civil rights legends stood. And I'm asking people to join me and learn the history of America and learn again about the content of character. It has nothing to do with any politician or anything. It has everything to do with, you know what it is? It's the anti-Woodstock. That's what it is. Do you remember how Woodstock just, it just stopped people and put them in that place. Those people that went to Woodstock, they're still going to, you ask anybody who said, oh, I was going to go to Woodstock, but I couldn't at the very end, or I didn't, I missed it. They're still pining about it. The people who went, that was the moment for them. This is the opposite of that. This is about honor and God, and hopefully it will be a moment. Leave your signs at home. Come with your children and come as you are and leave stronger, hopefully. This will be a moment that they will remember for the rest of their lives. And I promise you, if you're not there, you will say, or your children will say, for the rest of their life, I was going to go, we decided not to at the last minute. I'm getting a lot of heat because, and quite honestly, when I first stood on those stairs, after I had announced that we were doing this, I stood on those stairs of the Lincoln Memorial. I went down to Washington, D.C., and I thought to myself, who do you think you are? I know who I am. I'm a dad. I'm an American citizen, and I'm just trying to do the right thing the best way I know how. I think we have to stand up. I think we have to be better than we are now. Who do I think I am even doing this civil rights special for the last 3 nights? I'm just doing the best I can with the time that I have. I don't want you to misinterpret this series here as the end-all and be-all on civil rights, and in any way diminishing the incredible accomplishments of Martin Luther King and Rosa Parks and all the other courageous and brave people that went through the civil rights movement. You'll notice I'm not talking about those people because you know about them. What I'm trying to do is add on to what you already know about the civil rights movement in American history, and I'm also trying to show you that there's something here. There's commerce, religion, government, and science. You got to look for patterns in American history. You got to look for patterns because they repeat. It's why people read the Bible. And I mean, you read the Bible. Can you imagine if the 400 years that white man was over here on this continent, if you condensed it into a Bible chapter, we'd look just like those people. You'd walk away going, how did those people not get it? How did they not see it? Because we're living it. And it's over a long period of time, and so you lose the pattern. When there's collusion between commerce, religion, government, and science, it's bad. When they are set against each other or put each other in check, then you have man's freedom. The last segment, you saw some obvious discrimination from our government, and even those in the government, on the left. And I get it. There were racists on the right. There were racists in every walk of life, but there are also heroes on both sides. You got a question with